Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
I'm Mac.
and today we're continuing our Alphabet Soup Challenge.
Yes, we're almost there.
Yes, we're going to be going over the T games today, and we've got a decent amount of T games.
Yeah.
It's kind of been the case for like the R, S, T, and then kind of after that it pretty much narrows down to almost nothing for some of the letters, and then the other ones kind of have a few each.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of our last big letter of games. So we're winding down. But yeah, we're just going to go through all of our T games that we played through and talk about if we're going to keep them, how much we like them, which ones are favorites.
Or cull them.
Possibly call them. We'll start with an oldie.
But a goodie.
Yes. I don't know. I think this was one we got from a thrift shop, probably.
No, your mom
Or
ordered.
did she give us this copy?
Yep.
Ooh. Because I thought she got us a newer
She
one.
got us 2 copies.
Okay.
Accidentally.
But anyway, so this is Taboo, and this is one that we played before we even got into the hobby. It's a pretty much a party game where you are trying to get your teammates to guess a word, but you can't use like
That word or other certain
that word or
words.
common words you would probably use to.
If you haven't played
Yes.
Taboo by now, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah.
But
I think this is one that we get around to playing every now and then.
yeah,
it's a pretty fun
it's
one.
a decent party game. I feel like some party games people don't always like the verbal cue or clue giving stuff, and so that can be a little bit difficult for some people, but I still think it's good enough. You know, when you have a team, I think that makes it less daunting. So
Right. And yeah, there's a time element to this, so if you don't like games where you're kind of feeling rushed to
Yeah.
do things, that is one thing that this one has. But I think we will be keeping that one.
Yes, I think so.
And if not, I'm
At
sure
least
you
one
can get it from a
copy.
thrift
Yeah.
store for probably 50 cents, I'm sure.
Right.
But then our next one is a pretty small one. That is The Table is Lava.
Oh no.
Wow. Yeah, this one's almost another party style game, I would
Yeah.
almost call it. Just because I wouldn't say there's that much strategy to it. You are throughout the game tossing these cards kind of into the center area, which is kind of the safe land on the table for meeples to be on. And then you'll add certain meeples to the card depending on what the card shows.
Yep.
And you'll keep doing that until everyone's thrown all their cards kind of into that center spot, and then whoever has the most meeples at the end of the game ends up winning the game. So
Right.
it's a really quick game. It's kind of party-esque. I wouldn't mind getting rid of this one, but at the same time, it's a smaller
Yeah.
game, and it's just one that you can
Pull out. And,
Yeah, it's kind of different from a lot of other games that we have. So.
yeah. I don't know. I think I've only played this one once, and it was okay, but it reminds me of like Ice Cool, where it's just kind of one of those games where you gotta, it gets you up and off your feet and kind of doing some movement, and kind of is a different. I wouldn't say it's really like a board game. I don't even know what, just like an abstract party game type.
Yeah.
Game. So.
Yeah, it's kind of strange in that way. We have the, I think, 5th player expansion as well, so you can play with up to 5 with this one. It's just kind of good fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's too
Surprised
heavy
they limit
strategy
the
or
player
anything.
count like that, considering what it is, but.
Right, yeah,
Who
because
knows?
with just the base game, I think it's only 4, so that is kind of surprising. It does seem like one that
Yeah.
you could play with almost any number of people, assuming you have all the different meeple colors.
The whole party.
But then we'll get into one that you have not played.
I didn't.
I was hoping you could get to play some of these T games, but that
Yeah.
just did not happen. But this one's Teotihuacan, City of God, so it's one in the T series of games. I think outside of maybe Zulkin, this one might be the most popular on Board Game Geek-wise. And it might, I don't even remember, it might be more popular than Zulkin. I'm not 100% sure on that. But this one's got a bit of a rondel action selection piece to it, where you have these dice that are kind of moving around the board and taking the various actions that you're using to kind of get resources and build up various things. This one, unlike the Table is Lava, has a lot of depth and strategy to it. It's pretty heavy, I would say. I think a lot of people would. A lot of heavier gamers would probably say this one's not too heavy, but I think there's definitely a lot going on in this game, and I enjoy it quite a bit, but I think it would. I haven't played this one too many times, and I think it would take a lot more plays to really get comfortable with kind of understanding how some of the things can flow together really nicely, and kind of some good combo type things.
Would you say it's like medium to heavyweight, or?
Yeah, it's probably medium to heavy. And not sure. Not sure if you would like this one or not. That's why I'm interested to see, have you play it at some point and kind of see what you think of it. Because it's got a lot of interesting decisions for sure, but there is definitely a lot going on, and then there's like some track system, a lot of different track systems in the game that are giving you various little chunks of points as well. So it's kind of one of those where you're just getting points and points throughout the game, and then also some at the end game as well.
It's like, here, all at the end. No, the theme of this one interests me a lot, and just because like Teotihuacan is. We didn't even know what it is. I had to look it up. I learned something. I love history-based or ancient-type games where I can learn a little something, too.
And I would definitely say it's more mechanism-driven versus theme. Because, I wouldn't say for sure.
As with just about any game.
That is a lot of games.
But I take it we'll be keeping that one for a little while.
I think so. At least we'll see. Hopefully you'll get a chance to try it out. And once I know what you think of it, then we'll decide further, because I know there are some strategy games that I like that you also like, so we'd probably pull those ones out before this if you didn't like it, so we'll have to see.
Well, that's what's just so hard, is all these strategy games tend to blur into one after a while.
They're all fun. Then we got another smaller one, and that is Tsukiji.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think this is supposed to be a T. It's
right. It's got a silent T, I believe. Unless I'm saying that wrong. Tsukiji.
To our Japanese followers, let us know if we are saying this wrong.
Right, which I think is something with a fish market, or meat market type thing. Fish.
I think that's
seafood.
what it was when I looked it up.
And this one is a. I don't know what you'd call it exactly. There is like a
bidding market game?
A market factor, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of not. It's an interesting bidding game where you're all. So you've got the different.
Collection.
Yeah, there's some set collection. That for sure is probably one of the top things, along with the bidding. Those are probably the top two mechanisms. And the market thing is kind of tied to the bidding. And you have cards that are numbered like one. Well, I think it depends on player count which ones you're using. So you got like a 0, 1, 2, 4, or something like that. 1, 2, 3. I don't remember exactly.
Yep.
But
and then you get special bidding cards that
one-time use.
Yep, would maybe increase it by 2 or 1, or double it, or maybe one's a 6 or something like that. So depending on how much is bid for a set of fish or cards, then that determines how much it'll be worth, and then go around and you buy your different sets of fish, and then the market or I guess right before that, the market adjusts to show you what type of fish is getting up there in price, so that at the end of the game you could maybe guess, hey, the shrimp is going to be worth the most. But what happens is sometimes other things will shoot up eight spots in a round, or the one that was in the lead will have to move back too, because it's negative points, I think, if they're the least valuable. So it's kind of an interesting, you're just trying to create the best tableau with a moving target, kind of.
Yeah, it is interesting because it's moving throughout the game. Because I thought I did have a lot of one of the sets that was at one point right up there. I don't know if it was in the lead, but it was right up there, and then by the end it was dead last. So they were that whole set was almost worthless to me by the end. So it is a very interesting game.
I don't know. Are we keeping this one, or?
I would like to. I think it probably would play best at the full 4-player count, which we only played it at. We've played it once at 2 and once at 3.
We'll see.
I could get rid of it, but yeah. I'd like to play it a few more times, but say that about a lot of games, so can't really play them all, sadly.
Right.
But this one may be one that may have a different thought to this. That is Tokyo Highway.
Why is that?
And this is one that Jesse and I played this time through. The first time we played it with you, and we sort of finished it. We didn't really finish it. It's a dexterity game where you are stacking up pieces of highway on these column pieces and putting cars on them.
It's like fancy just wood pieces and popsicle sticks.
Right. And yeah, you're just trying to be the first to get all your cars out, and you get those out by either being like above a road that's I think not the lowest road. Something.
Yeah.
There's special rules,
and then how many cars
or being
it has
under.
on it.
Right. Or how many you go under and stuff, or how many cars you can put on there, or if you drop down to the table, you can put a car out that way as well. But this one's one that I don't know that I love that much either, just
Really?
because we've got Manara, and I prefer that one. That's a cooperative one, so it's not the same as this. This is competitive, but I just find the cooperative nature of that one to be a lot funner than, I don't know, trying to, trying to be the first one to have these off, and then it has weird rules, like if you knock off certain pieces or pretty much knock the track down, you try to fix it and put it back up. But then it's like, if you destroy so much of it, it's like, well, I don't remember exactly how it looked, and how long am I going to spend trying to put this back together? And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems interesting at first, but then just the actual gameplay of it is not as interesting.
Yeah.
So
I think the only thing I really like about this game is this box cover. I think this is really neat, but otherwise this game did nothing for me at all. I felt bad, but
I think this one's probably leaving the collection.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
I was hopeful, but yeah,
I was interested to see how your second play would be. So.
Yeah, I mean it went fine, but there's nothing about it that excited me.
Yeah.
Then we've got Ticket to Ride London.
Yes, and this one, we'll just be quick about it. It's not leaving the collection. It's one of my favorites. It's like, we love Ticket to Ride Europe, and it's basically a pared down version of that, with like one or two differences. So I just really love it. It's a fun game to pull out quick and play. It takes us about, when it's just me and you, it takes us about 15 minutes or 20 minutes to play it, and it's kind of just a fun, like, introductory Ticket to Ride, I think, too. You know, if you want people to learn Europe, this is probably a good one to start with, because it's quick and easy.
Or just say America, because, this doesn't have tunnels like Europe.
Yeah.
Getting them into the Ticket to Ride system, I think this is a really great system for that.
And I love London, so she'll be staying.
So you're biased.
I might be biased.
Heavily biased.
But she's staying around.
Oh, boy. I would agree. I like Ticket to Ride quite a bit. The game system, and Ticket to Ride London is a great 10 to 15 minute version of that.
Good.
20 minutes. It doesn't take us 20 minutes to play that.
I know.
You crazy.
I was like, wow, 15, that might be conservative, but...
Wow. Then we have Tiny Towns, and this is a kind of polyomino pattern building game where you are trying to build up your town in a 4x4 grid of these different buildings that will all score slightly differently each time depending on which cards you end up laying out, and it's just I really enjoy this one quite a bit. I think it may have fallen for you a little bit, but I'm really interested to. We've got the expansion, have to try that. But no, I'm looking forward to trying the expansion that we've got, because I really like this one quite a bit still, and I'd like to get it out a little bit more often. But
I'm surprised by that. I wouldn't have thought that. I mean, I think you like it, but it wasn't one I thought you'd be wanting to get out. So I like this one. I think it just, for me, is kind of fallen into like this category of like, every time you play, there's like 6 buildings, and you're not going to build one of every building. You're going to build whatever is optimal for scoring. So I feel like you always just get into a habit of building cottages over and over and over again, because they're probably the easiest to manipulate and build, and they probably score the most because they're 3 points if fed. So it's kind of an easy score
That's fair.
path. So I feel like I've just gotten into the rut of doing the same thing over and over in this game.
That's fair. And I think it plays differently depending on player count, especially if you don't play with the cards, which pretty much make it so it's an even amount of everything. I think if you did that, it could open up trying different things, because if there's a meta at the table that everyone's going to do cottages, then you know, like, okay, people are going to pick yellow, red, blue, whichever those resources are. We call them by their colors.
Yeah.
You just know that they're going to keep doing those, so if you know, well, I'm going to try to build this other thing that maybe doesn't take all of those colors, you're going to be risking a lot, because...
You better also have room for a cottage.
Right. So...
But it is cute. It's a unique style of game, I feel like, and it's not one I dislike playing, so maybe we'll have to see how the expansion goes.
Wow. Are you saying there's a chance you would have got rid of it? Wow.
I don't know. There's just other games like Walls of York or something else where...
Walls of York I could drop.
Really?
Like it's hot.
Oh my.
I don't like Walls of York that much.
You don't?
No. Now that one feels same. It feels like everyone's building the same pattern. This one, there's a little bit of difference in tiny towns.
Okay, we'll keep it to the tease.
Tudor.
Tudor.
Which is one we didn't get you to play.
House Tudor.
Even though you should like this historic theme, history theme. You like this even more than you'd like the
What king
Teotihuacan.
came from the House Tudor?
All of them.
I do like this theme
King
and stuff.
Tudor.
Henry VIII is the most famous one.
Wow.
I don't know. I like this one, but I guess at the time I was kind of like, this is weird. And I did want to play it again, but like you said, we were kind of running out of time. So I was like, meh, whatever. But it's here, so we could play it again. Anyway, unless you guys decide to call it, I guess.
Yeah, the only issue I'd have with this one is, I would say it says 2 to 4 on the box. I think you probably want to play it at 3 or 4. I don't think it works that well at 2. There's just... It's fine at 2, but it just... I don't know. It just feels like it's not as interesting at 2, because you kind of know what the other person's doing, and yeah, it doesn't work that well at 2. I would... If you're going to look at getting this one, definitely make sure you have a group of probably 3 or most likely 4, I think is what it's going to play best at, to play with a lot, because otherwise I don't think it'll be as interesting at just 2. But I do like it. It's kind of a set collection game based on, you can kind of set up different goals at the beginning of the game, so you can kind of change it up a little bit that way each game, and then there's some special actions that you can do as well. But otherwise this one's got kind of, I don't know if you'd call it worker placement, but then you're moving up kind of a grid of these different chips that you're picking up throughout the game for that set collection of different colors, and then you get rings with these hand shields that you have to kind of hide all of the stuff you have. Those don't stand up that well, but it's kind of an interesting gimmick.
Yeah. Well, I think
I don't know that.
Yeah, I think essentially you're just trying to move up in court, in the royal court, and I think that's actually Henry VIII on the throne. Right there. I knew it. There you go.
I knew it all along.
Tudor.
But yeah, I think that one will stay for now. But I don't know how often it's going to get played. So it's right there. On the chopping block. But this one for me is not, and that is Three Sisters. So this is a roll and write game where there's a rondel of where you're going to put out dice. So each round, depending on the player count, you're going to roll a certain amount of dice and then put them out in order. So if you rolled 2 2s, a 3, and a 6, you'd put the 2s on the next action in the rondel, and then the 3 on the next, and then the 6 on the next.
Yep.
And then you'll go back and forth amongst the players and kind of, I'm going to take so-and-so action with this whatever die. And so the die may kind of change how the action works depending on what it is.
Yeah.
But then you'll also get to... So usually the actions will be like a shed action where you're just crossing off different items in a shed, which kind of give you bonuses throughout the game or end game scoring. or they will kind of allow you to plant in your main field or water your fields, which is a big part of the game. And you'll get to also do that as a secondary action, no matter which one you pick, based on the die value that you picked. You'll get to do it in that. There's 6 sections of your garden, kind of get to plant or water in that, depending on your die. And there's a market as well, which I find interesting. This one, it's kind of got, it's by the same people that did Fleet the Dice game, which I find really enjoyable as well. So if you like that one, it has some similar feels to it, and it's kind of got the combo-tasticness of a Gone Shown Clever or a Hadrian's Wall, which I enjoy as quite a bit as well. I thought, what did you say, this one's probably your least favorite of those 3?
Yeah, I mean, so after one playthrough, I mean, Gons I feel like is just like ultimate like chaining game. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite because it's whatever, but like Hadrian's Wall and like I feel like does both of those games like really well, and then but it's like a bigger version of it, and so I feel like this is kind of like a good in between those 2 type of games. So it's got that chaining effect and got some of your dice, things that affects what you can actually do as opposed to just taking a number like Gons does. But I thought it was unique and interesting. I can see how you could probably easily get into a certain pattern in this game though, since it's all about bonuses and stars and stuff like that. And there really isn't enough time to do a lot of planting, and I think you can get a lot more points in various other ways too. So, but it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, that's fair, for sure. I would agree with you that it's probably in between those in difficulty level, and it's probably the fact that I've played Gone so much, and this one I've still only played a few times, so it's still pretty fresh to me. But I could see this one, like you said, being like, oh, there's certain things I should definitely do, whereas Hadrian's Wall is kind of a whole nother level above that, where I still haven't figured out like, is there anything that I should be for sure doing every time? Because all the stuff seems really good. So but I'm wanting to keep this one at least for a while yet. We still have Gons in the collection too, and I don't see that one leaving either.
And we have Roger's Dice too, which is I think kind of similar in feel. So lots of these rewarding,
lots of really great
roll and rights.
Ooh, and we've got a 2-player game, Targi. And this one, did you play this one or was it Jesse?
I played it. I think we played it twice when we first got it, and then you played it with Jesse just now.
Okay. I guess you remember much of it?
Yeah, it was kind of a unique. You're trying to collect different cards, and you kind of have a tableau in front of you, and I think you're trying to do your tableau in a certain way too, or
yeah, you're either trying to get so there's kind of different images or pictures on the different cards, and you're trying to either get all 4 different in a row or all 4 the same.
Yes.
To get bonus points. You don't have to do that, but that's just to get additional points.
Yeah, and you're working with like spices and other things, and it's kind of like you place 2 and you pick one of the cards that they land on together or meet with. So kind of a unique.
Yeah, it's a fun little. I don't know if you'd even call it tug of war, but it kind of feels like a really good back and forth for a 2-player game. Because you've got the outside ring of cards, and you're putting kind of your little workers on there, like you said, and then the intersection points of those, you get those cards as well. So you kind of will typically get like 5 actions that you get to take, and then you get to do them all together in whatever order you want, so whatever's most beneficial. It's really a fun, really unique game, and I think it works really well, personally. I don't know if it was yours or Jesse's favorite game, but
yeah, it was okay. I mean, it gets hard because when you get into these 2-player game categories, you're going to want to pull off your favorite 2-player game. And I would say that's probably like 7 Wonders Duel for us. So it's like, how often are you actually going to pull off a 2-player game? I mean, maybe more likely now, but since it's just basically us 2 gaming again. But I would say it's not one I'm opposed to taking off. So, just got to get it back out there.
Yeah.
Are we keeping it for a while at least? That way again? Or are we saying goodbye?
I'd like to keep it for a while. And
right.
I guess if we played it a couple more times and you were like, yeah, this really does nothing for me, then I suppose I could let it go, even though it does have a really fun, unique feel to it.
Play it at a convention or something.
That's true. Then we're getting into the really good games now.
When I first played this game, I was like, ugh, this is terrible. It's like takes forever to play it. I don't understand what's going on. But it was very early, I think, in our board game career here in whatever. And my brother got a copy of it. We didn't have a copy up until recently because you needed one for World Series of Board Gaming. And now I love this game. I can see it. I can see the hype.
I don't believe you.
Really?
Did you have this in your top 50 games?
No.
I wouldn't.
Still love it.
I wouldn't even say you love all your top 50 games.
Okay. Maybe I gotta
love it more
put
than
it back
maybe you
in.
did originally.
Yeah, there we go.
This one from the start, I really.
You don't know what this
really
game
loved it.
is, then I don't
Terraforming
know how
Mars
you got
is-
here. But
I could get here from
anything
maybe
else?
Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, Terraforming Mars is an amazing game. It's very highly regarded. I think it's still in the Board Game Geek top 10, I think. Maybe it slipped down more recently just because it's been out for a while now, and I think kind of being hot new kind of keeps games up there, gets them up there.
And then it's got
So you're just gonna
expansions
drop
that didn't really work out well, and
I think they work out well. There's people that really like them, but I think Prelude's kind of the one that everyone agrees is the best, and then kind of the rest of them are kind of hit and miss depending on what you prefer, what you like in Terraforming Mars. But yeah, this one, it's kind of it's very card-based game that you're building kind of a tableau of cards in a way to help you build an engine and kind of try. Feels like I try different things every time depending on what cards you're drafting cards throughout the game. Well, you don't have to play with a draft variant, but I typically like to do that just in case
much better.
someone gets 4 really bad cards, or maybe not necessarily bad cards, but cards that don't work for them, and then someone else might get 4 really good ones, and then it just kind of throws off the balance a little bit. But yeah, then there's just a lot going on in this game.
You are terraforming Mars.
You are terraforming Mars. It is, like you said, a game that if you're still new to the hobby, there's a lot going on. It's a lot to get into, but it is very satisfying if you like strategy games. I think.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of really fun things kind of working together for it.
So I think we'll be keeping that one.
Oh, we'll definitely be
The question
keeping it.
is of how long until he gets the big box.
Wow. Who knows? It may already be coming.
That would not surprise me.
It's not coming. Not currently. But then we're on to our last T game we've got here. And,
You're missing one.
am I?
Yeah.
Which one?
Tekhenu.
Oh, shoot. I forgot to bring that one out. I'll go grab it. You talk about Tapestry.
Okay, I'll talk about Tapestry and make sure you didn't miss any other ones. Okay, that's the only one I have that we missed. Tapestry is a civilization building game, or at least that's how it's marketed. People out there I don't think would agree with that, but basically you start the game with, I would say, maybe it's a civ, but it's essentially like a faction type thing, and it kind of helps you direct your gameplay a little bit, maybe gives you some ability, and then what you're going to be doing is trying to maximize your turn, your resources, to go up these different tracks that allow you to either play on the game board where you're, conquering an island or building out your island or land mass, and then as well as creating technology pieces or going up on the science track to allow you some benefits there. There's also a military track or an arts track, and so all of these things that kind of develop over time when a civilization is born, and that's kind of the theme of it, is just kind of trying to improve your standing and maximizing your ability to do all those things. How's that summary, dear?
It was good. It was good.
Let the masters talk, huh?
No. Yeah, I would agree. I think, this is my favorite T game, and it's kind of like Terraforming Mars, like you said, in a way where you're trying to get as much out of each turn as you can, and each round, or I don't know if you call it a round, it's kind of like a era or whatever.
Yeah.
That each person does throughout the game, multiple of those, and yeah, it's just a really satisfying game. There's a lot going on in this one as well. Building out your capital city, like you said, expanding your territories out on the actual board itself, and going up the different tracks. And yeah, I would agree that there are a lot of people that say this is not a Civilization game, and yeah, I think it is more of a civilization themed game. So I could see and agree with that, and I could see and agree with the fact that things are a little unbalanced at times. I think there are some civs that are definitely better than others. But I just really enjoy trying them out and seeing kind of how they end up doing.
If you know Stonemaier Games at all, then you know that they publish Psy, and if you know anything about Psy, that one also is kind of imbalanced or whatever with that. So I think it's similar in that respect, but not maybe as drastic, I would say, as some of those combos. But
well, I think this one's more drastic for some of the things.
Yeah.
But maybe, I can see they have actually banned some of those, and I think they are putting together currently updated player mats. I think they have one more expansion that they're hoping to do, and I don't know if they do any more after that. It hasn't really been confirmed one way or another, but I think kind of once they have that, then they'll maybe finalize some of the adjustments they've been thinking of to kind of balance some things a little bit more. But I think there's still other things in the game that people would say are still going to be unbalanced after the fact. So I really like it. I really like how some of those broken combo feeling things, I don't know that they're actually broken, but they feel broken sometimes. I really like how satisfying those can be sometimes to find those.
Well, it's not only your favorite T game, right? It's your favorite game of all time.
Yes.
So
I like it quite a bit. I'm pretty biased because, it is my favorite game of all time. So I would definitely suggest trying it out. But if you really like things to be like the best player should win every time, you're probably not going to get that in this game, because there are some times where
it really does depend on the
heart of the
cards.
A little bit of luck in kind of the cards you pull and other things. So, but I'd say it's still, once you've played it a lot more times, I think most of the time the best player will win, just because they're good at extending turns and stuff.
Yeah, so. It's crazy. So
yeah, solid game.
It is.
I guess we have one more T game.
Yeah.
That is Tekhenu, Obelisk of the Sun, which is the other T game that I was hoping you'd get to play.
I know.
And you did not.
I didn't. I kind of tried to watch. I watched the video on it, and I was like, oh, no.
Was that what you were like, or were you like this?
No, I...
Snoring? That's usually what watching rules videos turns into.
Can you blame me? Yeah, I don't know. It just, and then I sat down and I was tired and I was looking at it and I was like, this is too busy. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I was even watching you guys do your turns. I was like, I am not following how this is happening. So I, one, need to be more alert for this, and two, I was like, they need to know it better, because if they don't know it, then I'm not going to know it and it's not going to be good. So that's why I didn't play it. But it is one that we have it's on the list, like Teotihuacan, that Michaela hasn't played, and it's in the collection, so we gotta get Michaela to play those.
Gotta get Michaela to play these.
That way she can say she's played every game in the collection.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, this is another one that I'd say is on the heavier side, kind of similar to Teotihuacan. I think both of them kind of have their own kind of things that make them a little bit difficult, or kind of are extra things to think about. That's why I really like what both of them offer, but neither one of them feels like they would ever be my favorite game of all time. They're kind of have, they're very puzzly and have, a lot of fun things to think about, but I don't know that I'd say either one of them has like an insane hook that's like, oh, this is just so satisfying. But they do have satisfying moments where things, your plan comes together and things work out really well. But yeah, it's definitely a brain burner of a game, and this one, you've got this obelisk in the center, which is putting a shadow over certain dice, making them either, I was going to say cursed. I don't think it's cursed. It might be, what is it? You've watched the video.
Yeah.
Corrupt or non-corrupt, whatever it is exactly.
They're in the spot that means you can't take them.
Right. There's some that you can't take, depending on which action they're relating to, and then there's some that you, two different types you can take, either the kind of the good or the bad, and you want to even those out, along with So the pips on the die matter in that way, and then can sometimes matter depending on what action you're taking. It's kind of got a few similarities, I think, to Teotihuacan and certain. Well, I don't know if there's similarity, but some things kind of feel similar. But yeah, this is another one where you've got some resource management and are trying to build various different things throughout the board to get chunks of points here and there. There's definitely, I feel like the chunks of points and things that you do in Teotihuacan some of them feel a little better than what they feel like in this. Like this, sometimes you're building in this one area, and I don't know, maybe if you're watching this and you're really into the T series of games, let me know what these play like at higher player counts, because it just seems like, so there's an area of a board where you're putting out tiles that you kind of want to match up, or you'll get the bonuses of what you're laying the tile on, and then there's just some little very small amount of points, and it just sometimes doesn't seem satisfying enough for what you're getting, what you're putting in to get that. Just doesn't feel like, it just feels like a lot of work for very little sometimes. And I don't know, sometimes that can feel not as satisfying, but most of the time it's like, okay, well, if I can do that, then it gets me one more action. And in this game, you don't have all that many actions throughout the entire game, so you're trying to make the most of what you got. So I like that in the game too, when it's like, well, you've only got, I don't remember how many it is in this game, if it's like 18 total actions that you're going to get to take in the game. So if you're taking a production action, which is a thing that you can do in here, you're kind of, it's not really getting you anything, but it's hopefully like setting you up to be able to take your next few turns, so that you don't have to be like, oh, well, I take this, well, now I need to take another production, and then I can take an action. But it's satisfying. It's another one that I'd like you to play, and I'd like to kind of see which one you prefer out of the two. And if you prefer either, maybe you won't like either of them. But yeah, that's T games in our collection.
So about 13 of them, looks like.
Yeah, so Tapestry and Terraforming Mars are probably my two favorites.
Tapestry and Ticket to Ride, London.
But you love Terraforming Mars, you said.
I love it more than I used to, as you corrected me on.
You like Taboo.
I do like Taboo.
But yeah, I think otherwise my favorites would probably be the two T-Series games, just because, well, I do like Three Sisters, but like I said, that one could get maybe samey after a while, but I think Teotihuacan and Tekhenu would probably have a lot of depth, after a lot of plays could get to be more and more and more enjoyable. Maybe.
We'll have to
learn
see.
all the inner strategy.
We'll have to see.
We will have to see. But otherwise, that's all the T games we got. We hope to see you on some of our other videos. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.